Cześć, it's Michalina from Coffee That Gives a Pack. If you thought that the series about coffee brewing tips is over, you are wrong. All of the things that I said here, or here, here, or here, or here are very important to remember about if you want to make your coffee tasting consistently good. But you know what they say, the devil is in details. Here's the list of 7 evil details that are not necessarily the part of the coffee recipe, but are equally important, quite often underestimated or wrongly taken as a must-do. Intro. First one, preheating your brewing equipment. A couple years ago, if I saw someone who didn't preheat their brewing equipment before they started to make a coffee, I'll be like, what do you think you're doing? But today, I don't say that anymore. Why do I think that it is still important, but not always necessary? When you measure your water temperature and you want to keep it on a stable level for as long as it's possible, it is helpful to preheat the equipment with hot water before you start your extraction. The temperature of the actual brew, whatever you're having inside your coffee equipment, is staying on very close level to your actual water temperature. I would definitely kept all the handles from the coffee machine in the group, constantly have them hot enough for making the coffee. Why some people think that it is okay to leave them on the bench or a drip tray, I don't know, don't do that. But if you've never warmed, let's say, your AirPress before, and that was your routine, your go-to way of making the coffee, and you like the coffee that way, I'm chill. 2. Rinse your filter with hot water. You did that? You rinsed the filter, but with cold water? Again, I'm chill. As long as it's rinsed from the potential fragrance that it could catch while it was sitting in your kitchen in between other things. So you probably don't want your coffee to smell like your stir-fried you had for a dinner. Or maybe you do, but that's weird. Once you rinse it with a fresh water, it not only sticks to the equipment better and the entire extraction goes nicer and smoother, it's easier to keep it in place that way. But also, you don't lose anything from your coffee. If you have a dry paper filter, the essential aromas very quickly, in very few first seconds, go into the paper. So instead of some of the coffee compounds ending up in your cup, the paper filter absorbs them. It might look beautiful, I did that, look. But it's definitely not beneficial for the sake of the quality of your brew. 3. Using clean equipment. You haven't cleaned the moka pot for several hours after you made coffee with it. Or you left the coffee sitting in the basket of your coffee machine group for who knows how long after you made the coffee. Your grinder, how does it look? Did you know that most of the grinders retain lots of coffee inside them? Among other things, coffee consists of oils. They're sticky. So some part of the coffee beans that you were grinding in your grinder stick to the burrs pretty badly. It builds up, so it gets old, end up being stale, not very pleasant. It's gross. Am I chill here? No. You can have amazing beans. You can have very expensive brewing equipment, very expensive grinders. But if you can't be bothered cleaning it properly and maintaining it as the instruction says, give it away to someone who will look after it. Not only it's not hygienic, but you just waste its potential of making an absolutely amazing cup of coffee just because you're a little lazy. 4. Even not too strong, gentle but effective distribution of your coffee grounds is very important, like really important. Seriously important, what's the word? Massively important, mucho importante, bardzo ważne, that's my language. Extreme. Why? For water to be able to fully and evenly extract your coffee. If your so-called coffee bed in the pour-over filter is not flat, the water will be in contact with different parts of your coffee bed for different amount of time. Some longer, some shorter, and that leads to uneven extraction. Same goes to preparing your coffee for espresso. When you tamp it with your coffee looking like this, you have more coffee here and less coffee here. Water will easily go through this part, leaving those grounds most likely under-extracted, and this part will create so much resistance that the water will struggle a lot to go through it and perhaps make it the final brew taste bitter. 5. Freshness of the coffee. I talked about it here. So go ahead and check why keeping your coffee fresh makes your life better. When your coffee starts to lose a little bit of freshness and you struggle to get all the flavors that you know that they used to be there because you've drank that coffee before, you'll be able to bring them back or maybe taste something different but still good by grinding your coffee a little bit finer or by brewing the coffee with a little bit higher water temperature. That helps. You're welcome. 6. Pour. Not the best pouring technique. That applies to filter coffee mostly, where you have to pour your water over the bed of the coffee. Some require less ability to be really good at your technique and to pour the coffee in a nice and stable flow, but in general what you don't want to do is to ruin the perfectly flattened coffee bed that you worked on for so long, now when you know that it's important, by not being too careful to pour your water with control. And yes, you can use this, but it's not necessary. As long as you don't pour your water onto the coffee this badly to agitate the coffee bed too much. If you don't pour the water straight in one spot, or if you focus on pouring your water too close to the walls of the V60, or you just avoid the center of the coffee, or if you pour it with no control whatsoever and your stream cuts many times while you pour the coffee. If you don't do that, you should be fine. You go in circles from the center towards the edges. Comes from your elbow. Strong shoulders equals stable water flow. The more evenly your water goes onto your coffee, the more chances you have for better extraction. 7. Subscribing to Michalina's YouTube channel. Is it necessary? No. Will it help getting better and making coffee? Maybe. Will you find out more about specialty coffee and its benefits? Hopefully. Will that make Michalina's day? 100% yes. Peace and coffee.